Hey, there we go. We went live. Hey guys, happy Thursday. Today's Thursday, February 21st, 2019. I'm super excited to be here with my friend Dan Ward. He's an awesome guy. He's got a great story. But I'm sorry we've been kind of out of the loop for the first part of this week. Had a lot going on. So thank you guys who messaged me and said, Ted, where's the show? Where's the show? Well, the show's back, and we're going to start kicking off with Dan, and we've got some shows tomorrow. So let us know you can hear us or see us. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Everybody knows the reason why. Anna, what's up? So send me a heart. Let me know you can hear us and see us. I mean, you can't miss this crazy jackets. You should see the shoes. They're insane. But give us a heart, let us know, because the last thing I want is for Dan to tell his story, and guess what? Nobody can hear it. Okay, so we got a heart. Thank you very much. All right, so welcome to the show, buddy. I'm very excited to have you on.
Yeah, man, I'm really happy to be here. I've been looking forward to it. So
I know, and I love the title of your show, Making Friends for the Win. Harvey, what's up, man? We definitely want to talk about that. I'm a big believer in that as far as a strategy, a life strategy pretty much. But you know, we always like to talk about the origin story. Where did Dan Ward come from? Because you weren't born and then all of a sudden you're a realtor writing a book. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I came to Orlando in the late 90s. I'm from Miami originally. Go Canes.
Oh, hence the Canes. I got you.
So I was traveling in the carnival with my aunt. So I was a carny, an actual carny. So bank of balls, balloon stores.
Wait, okay, so this
bushel baskets.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Did you really do that?
Yeah, so I traveled the East
This is
Coast
why
in the
I don't
carnival.
get any information, because I'm just as surprised as the next person.
I was a carny, yeah. I traveled. I had a good time, little hustle games. It was fun.
How long did you do that for?
For about 2 or 3 years.
Were you a young kid, or was this
Yeah, I was probably late teenager, early 20s, and we would travel, and I came off the road during one season, and I met who is now my wife, and I met her in 97 or whatever, and she was like, I want you to stay home, so met her a little bit.
So you were a carny, though.
A carny, yes, a carny.
All right, still got to go back to that. So you weren't born a carny. Was your family in the carnival business?
My aunt was in the carnival business.
And how did you get involved?
So in the summers, I would go hang out with her.
Oh, Jack, what's up, buddy?
And so unfortunately, my aunt had lost her first husband.
I'm sorry.
And I was down in Miami, and I was getting in trouble and everything. And I think we just needed,
as most carnies do.
Yes, and I think we needed each other in our lives at the time. I needed her for guidance to teach me how to be an adult, and she just needed somebody, family there, just to kind of support her, right?
What did your family or your friends think of you adapting to the carny lifestyle?
Oh,
I'm fascinated. It's like the gypsy
yeah,
lifestyle.
They were like, holy shit, you're crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. You know, we'd have choice teddy bears. We'd be on the bank of balls. You know, easy calls, you know. Hey, just get one in. Got to get it up to get it in. Choice when you win. You know how it goes, right? And we call people in.
So you can still do that in your sleep. You immediately went to that
I can still
voice.
hit the shot. I can get out there. I loved it. I really loved it. The adrenaline that it gave me, the rush. You'd go 18 straight days working at a state fair in Syracuse in 110-degree heat. And you really bust your butt. I mean, everybody sees the carnival when it shows up, but they don't see what's done to get there.
A lot of work behind the scenes.
A lot of work, yeah. So it was fun. And it really... it started my sales career off because I really had to sell people on why to pick our game and play for teddy
People
bears.
don't realize that that's actually, I would imagine that's a great training ground for sales, because people are there having fun and you have to convince them to spend a little bit of money at your booth, and there's 900 booths to choose from.
Yeah, and it's definitely, you learn how to overcome objections pretty good because that's there. But anyway, so I walked in, had my hat turned backwards, I was from the 305, you know what I'm saying? Miami, I thought I was a gangster, whatever, you know, all the stuff you think of as a kid. I walk into a car dealership in shorts, like I did today at the Citrus Club.
Oops.
Whoops.
I wasn't going to call you out.
So I walked in and they didn't want to interview me because they're like, the punk kid, whatever. So of course, my button in was, well, I'm currently traveling in the Carnival, and I'd like to get in the Carnival. Oh yeah, GM wants to speak to you. I'm like, okay, so.
So the GM understood that that was a very important sales skill to have.
Yeah, so he brings me in, and of course, I think I'm going to interview. I'm like, okay, look, I've been traveling the Carnival. I'm off the road. I met this girl, like her a lot. I think it's the one, so I need to do this now, right?
Brucey, what's up, brother?
And he's like, yeah, what? I'm like, yeah, okay, listen, I'm traveling the car. He goes, okay, forget the job. Let's talk. Are the rims bent? Is it really fixed? Is this that? Is that that? How do you make the shot? Can you hit the basket? What? So we go into all that.
He wanted to know the backstory.
Yeah, so forget the interview now. We're off on that, right? So we're off on that, and I'm like, what's up, Rusey?
I love Bruce.
So I'm off on that tangent and forget it. He doesn't even interview me. I go, okay, well, great talk. I'm glad we got to speak about that. So we come out. I go outside, and I'm driving off. And I see him come running out. And
so he wanted you.
Yeah, he comes running out. He stop. I'm like, okay.
And you'd never done any car sales?
Nothing at all.
Why car sales? Why did you go there?
I don't know. I was driving and there was a sign out on the road. And my wife, who was then my girlfriend, said, why don't you do that? You can do that. You can sell anything to anyone. I'm like, okay, sure, let's try it.
And that became a career for you.
How
long were you in the car business?
I spent 20 years.
See, that is a lot. That's like 900 years in regular sales.
Yeah, you've seen
it's like
those.
Life insurance people, which I was, car salesman, it's that whole category of it'll take life off or years off your life.
You've seen those pictures where they're like, this is me in the car business or whatever. They do it with real estate agents now. Like, damn, I went from like car salesman to real estate agent. I'm moving up.
You moved up a little bit.
But we're still. But anyway, he stops me and he's like, I want to hire you. And I'm like, really? I thought you just wanted to know about the Carnival. He's like, no, I want to hire you, but you got to take a whiz quiz. I'm like, a whiz quiz? Yeah, you got to take a drug test. I'm like, what do you think? I'm doing dope because I'm in the Carnival?
Oh,
he's like,
whiz quiz.
Yeah.
I have not heard that before.
So I said, all right, well, I'll go take a quiz, whatever you want me to do. My first month, I sold 13 cars.
All right, so how do you go from selling somebody at a booth to having enough knowledge to sell 13 cars? Was it the knowledge? I mean, I know we're working up to the title of the show, right?
Absolutely.
But how do you go into that? Because that's a completely different product. It's a much larger purchase, obviously. It's a big purchase. There's financing involved. There's paperwork involved. And then there's people's tests and there's all sorts of objections. So how did somebody train you or did you just dive right in?
I just really dove right in. I mean, there were moments of training along the way. I would do...
Steve Montgomery says, because he's a whiz.
What up, Steve?
We love Steve.
Yeah, so I kind of played a little dumb. I knew that I had to make people like me because, hence making friends for the win, right? I knew I had to make people like me. So once I was able to greet somebody and make them like me, I knew the managers would take care of the money at the time,
But let me ask you about that because you say that like a lot of people know that. I know that inherently. Right. But a lot of people who are in sales, and I choose that word rather than calling them salespeople, they don't have that same mentality. No. I'm amazed at the people who work retail or sales of any kind or customer service of any kind, and they don't care at all about me liking them. All they want to do is get the job done.
And I hate that.
I really do too. I'm not a fan of that, and I've never understood why people are trained that way or how they get away with it.
Yeah, and I hate walking into a place, even if it's just Best Buy. If you come up and talk to me like we both bleed the same color. Like, don't talk to me like, what do you want? There it is.
Right.
Or asking me, hey, you like that TV? Why don't you buy that one? Okay, well, tell me why. Why are you telling me that?
Sure. You want to have a real conversation.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit. And I think that people miss that you have to build that rapport. And if people like you, they will buy from you, or in our case, they will sell with you.
Right.
And they'll do business with you. And even if at that time they don't need you, they will refer their friends to you. They will refer their family to you. I really believe in that. And what I did out there was I just started to take people. I just said, okay, we call them ups in the car business. I said, I'm going to go take an up and I'm going to bring them in and I'm going to sit them down and I'm going to go through the process that I've been told that I have to go through. And I've gotten in a lot of trouble along the way because I was young and
of this I have no doubt. My friend.
I had no inhibitions. I got in a lot of trouble one time. They sent me to the service drive. They told me, I think they wanted to fire me, but they thought by sticking me in the service drive that would make me quit. But I actually sold 17 cars that month, and they were all off the service
What was
drive.
the trouble you got in? Was it because that did you cross a line as far as relationships go?
Yeah, I would get a little carny-ish, because out there I had
Is that like high pressure?
I had to get a little bit more high pressure or say
aggressive?
things maybe I shouldn't say. Now, obviously, things have changed, but I mean, I'd grab people by the hands and sit down and let's pray about it, that whole thing. I think I told somebody that if they don't buy the car, then I won't eat tonight, and how does that make you feel?
Jeez.
So kind of things
you
like
might
that.
have gone
Yeah.
a little over the edge there.
Right,
buddy.
all right, so
But
OB,
you're feeling
yeah.
your way through it.
Right. So OB, who was my manager at the time, he said, I'm not going to fire you. I'm going to stick you in the service drive. You got to talk to service people. And I sold 17 cars that month. From that point on, I only stayed in the service drive. I stopped fighting the people in the front for guests. I said, wow, this is a gold mine. Everybody that's coming into the service drive, I don't have to make them like me. They like me. I don't have to make them like us. They like us.
Right.
I don't have to make them like the product. They like the product.
That's very cool. That's database mining, basically, at its simplest,
Absolutely.
right?
All I had to do was justify why it was time to take your car and make your car brand new and keep the payment the same or close to the same. It was a lot easier sale, and that's kind of how I built my reputation in the car business. And
You weren't telling people you're not going to eat anymore.
no, I didn't do that.
That has been hit on. I have had people say that to me, dude.
Yeah.
I can't pay my
No.
my power bill, and I'm like,
Oh,
how much
and
is your power bill?
it
I
is
swear to God,
horrible.
I'll pay your power bill for you.
What changed my life in the car business? I kind of had hit a ceiling, and then I had a trainer introduce me to Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
and I actually got to meet him with my kid. It was so cool, right? But that's a whole other story. I got him on YouTube. My kid does the closes on YouTube. I'll show him.
Nice.
But his closer survival guide and the 85 closes in the auto industry really was more my personality, and I loved how it was more like, I tell people that I took what he did and I kind of made it my own. But when you're dealing with people, you have to be almost like either their son or their father or maybe their doctor, right? You've got to find the pain, and you've got to help them cure the pain.
Right.
And if you don't do that, you're missing the boat. And
So what do you do with that? Because I think that's really powerful. So you're finding that area, you're finding that discomfort. We used to call it, we would ask disturbing questions. We would figure out what the issue is, what's stopping them, or what's going on with them. You took the time to figure out what's going on. But how do you make that leap? What if it's something, have you ever encountered something where you just couldn't overcome it and you said, you know what, you're right, you should go home, don't buy a car today?
No, absolutely. And I think I brought a lot of that into my real estate world too.
Sure.
I really, me and my partners, one of the big things that we say is we are in the business to help people. There has been several appointments that I have gone on where I have said to them, you know what, your best option is this, and that doesn't benefit me,
Right.
but that helps you, and I think you should do this first. And if that doesn't work out for you, or if something goes wrong there, then come back to me and we can look at plan B.
That's a turn from before, right? That's
Yes.
a turn from the sales perspective.
Yeah,
You
buy
have-
now.
Buy now. I can't eat now.
Right,
But
right.
have you found that, was that an easy transition for you, or did you have to learn it from somebody? You said Grant Cardone, right? You made it your own.
Yeah.
But was that an easy transition, or did you have to figure out how to tweak it? Were there any mentors who were locally helping you tweak that?
Yeah, I had to tweak it a lot because I had already had a lot of success being a salesperson, right? But I was kind of at that point where I was like, okay, what's the next? Where do I go from here?
Sure.
And I had a couple of gentlemen. One was a gentleman named Chris Hunt. I was going through some issues, some life issues. My wife had just opened a business. We had a kid. We were having issues, whatever. But he put me on to, Grant Cardone was one of them that he put me on to. But for my personal relationships, he put me on to Tony Robbins. Not the sales part of Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins also has like consulting CDs where
Sure.
he talks about life issues and
Absolutely.
things like that. So he started coaching me, and I can't thank Chris Hunt enough. I mean, he was really a mentor at that point in my life that really got me through a lot of things. And
He helped. You obviously have a great heart and great energy, and you know how to connect with people. Harnessing that in can be a challenge. It's a challenge for most people as they're trying to figure out the way. So having a mentor like that to kind of help you tweak it and harness it, I'm sure that was really
and I think, you know, the loyalty. I'm very loyal to people, and I believe
Understood.
in people, and almost to a fault. Like I've lost a lot of opportunities because I wouldn't go against certain things, or I wouldn't go down the path they wanted me to go down.
What do you do in that? Do you still do that in this situation? I'm the same way, so I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, just as a disclosure, I'm loyal to a fault.
Absolutely, 100%.
I will sacrifice things that I should not sacrifice in order to be loyal.
Absolutely.
And that has served me really well in some instances and really messed me up.
Me too.
In a lot of
A
instances.
lot of I've been yelled at several times by my wife.
Oh yeah, Stacy Bogert could tell you a lot of things. I agree, but I can't. I don't feel like if I changed that, if I adjusted that,
Then it's not
then
you.
that's not me anymore. And there's no authenticity. There's no. I like to be vulnerable with people. I want to only be authentic with them, and with that comes the burden of you're going to have people. Oh, thank you, Dorothy. You're going to have people who are going to smell it a mile away and take advantage of it. And I believe people up front, and they have to prove me wrong. I'm horrible. It's probably a bad place to be. Stacy, my wife, she's the opposite. You got to prove your worth to her and that she can trust you before she even lets you into whatever her circle.
Yeah, same thing. My wife is she's got concrete on the front. You really got to tear that down before you can get into her circle. And I'm the total opposite. Like,
Total opposite.
I'm like, oh, you're a mass murderer, killed 3 kids, but I like you. So
It's
you can be my
really
friend.
bad.
Yeah. Oh.
If I tell people this,
You're my
if I
buddy.
don't like you, God help you. I don't know how you're existing in this world or this community because I like everyone and I want everyone to succeed. And if I actually don't like you and don't engage with you, you really need to reevaluate where you're at. I should listen to her, Dorothy. You're right. Because I am like you. Like, it takes a lot for me to dislike somebody or not trust somebody.
Me too. And I have a very short memory. Like,
Oh my God, absolutely.
people are like, why do you like that guy? Don't you remember what he did like 3 months to you? I'm like, yeah, but that was
I'm
3
the
months ago.
exact same way. And it has served me really well because I don't get stressed out about people like I think a lot of people do who prejudge and then have to go through, a million steps and the lights being shined on you like the Gestapo, and you're in this interview and you're like, all right, are you a good person? I don't think like that, and so my world might be turned upside down afterward, but I don't worry about it in the beginning.
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed, and then I can kind of tell you we'll get into what my why was, why to transition to here.
I want to do that. Look at you
one
directing the
big thing
show.
that-
It's good. It's good. No,
I'm here. One big thing that bothers me is I call. So we call on our team calls on a lot of folks that are kind of in a distressed situation.
Sure.
And so what bothers me a lot is I'll talk to some pre-foreclosure people going through some issues, and they've got a realtor hired. But when you find out what's going on there, they're not being advised down the right road. The realtor is just looking, okay, I got somebody that said I can sell their house. When there's so many other options that help them, and there's a lot of times where, okay, they're with that person 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Right.
And then finally that breaks off for whatever reason. Either the realtor says, look, I can't help you, or the person says, I'm sick of you saying you can help me.
Right.
It's one of the two. And we get there, and now there's only 10 days before it goes to auction or something, and they're really,
bad
really
place to
screwed.
be. Yep.
And I just wish that more people would either educate themselves on the different processes that you can help these folks, or get them to somebody that can really legitimately help them, and don't think about the dollar. Get the referral fee, get something, and get these people down the right road, because a lot, okay, so there's some that are in the situation because they are who they are, and they do it
Correct.
in every house they
But a
have.
lot of people, you're right. So what happens is it makes a bad situation worse
Right.
because they're with the wrong person, or that person doesn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal.
Right.
Really is only taking it to hope to sell the property. But that you're right. They're not taking that person's feelings or their situation. They're not really evaluating it.
Right, and it's horrible, and that's the whole making friends. I mean,
So tell me about your why. You mentioned it.
all
What's
right,
the why?
sorry, the why. So I spent 20 years in the car business. The last 8 years I was with Fields Auto Group here, which great, love those guys.
Love Dan.
Appreciate everything they did for me over the last 8 years. But I just woke up one morning and I just had enough. A salesman was in my office complaining about another salesman and doing this and that, and I'm the manager. I'm like, you know what? I'm so over this. I went for a 2-hour lunch and came back and just gave them my notice. They asked if I would stay there till they find somebody. I said no problem. The why was my kids are 10 and 13. And this was a year ago, but I missed so much. I'm getting texts that my wife's at a baseball game and it's a Saturday, or there's a night game, or there's wrestling, or there's tennis, or there's an event at school during the day, and I wasn't able to be there. I couldn't have dinner every night with my kids. I couldn't be at the schools with them, and it really just destroyed me. It was breaking my heart that they were growing up, and I couldn't see that.
You weren't around.
Right.
I mean, you might have been around, but you weren't present.
Right, and it was difficult for me because I'm an emotional guy, and it was emotionally just tearing me up.
Sure.
And
So you had to make a decision. You got to whatever your point was. You're like, all right, this is it.
And I was scared to death because, I mean, I know, my wife is a local eye doctor and she has a practice, and we were at a point where that practice had grown to a certain point where she was like, okay, I think I can hold off while you get yourself started now. So that was a big, big thing. And love her for it. She hates me right now because I'm not making a ton of money yet, but that'll change.
But she supports you, and I think that the support system's super important.
And that made it more comfortable for me to do it. So
Why real estate?
Debbie Irons, actually.
I love Debbie Irons. We'll have to tag her later. She's
Debbie
amazing.
Irons.
Yeah.
She has been friendly with us and a friend of ours. And I'm sorry I'm missing your event, Debbie, but have another one.
Oh, it's hers this weekend?
It's next weekend.
Oh,
as
it's
well.
next weekend.
But,
That's right.
She reached out. She saw I was going through whatever transition, and she said, "Man, this would be really good for you. I mean, with your sphere of influence and people you know and people you've been in contact with over the years, let's do it."
That's
so
awesome.
I mean, I didn't even interview any other realtors, any brokers. I didn't do anything. I knew exactly where I was going.
Debbie's an amazing human being.
Yeah,
she really is.
She's awesome. So she put me with Desmond.
Another amazing. Desmond usually is here with a beer.
Yeah, and Desmond's great. So we had went through property sales, Debbie and I, and she had helped us through trying. I mean, the one thing that made us just fall in love with her is back when the economy shifted, we had a short sale, and it took us 27 months to short sell our home, and
Wow.
she never left our side. Completely stayed with us.
She's a good human being.
Switched attorneys. I mean, she kicks ass.
She does. We love Debbie Irons.
Love her to death.
Love her. I saw her in New Orleans.
Yeah, I saw pictures.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was
She's
so good to
great.
see her outside of Orlando and the Citrus Club, by the way. People don't believe I get outside the Citrus Club.
And so she knew I wanted to get into investing and stuff like that. So Desmond was the best fit for me. I did tell her I was either going to be with her or Desmond or no one. That was my goal coming into it. So
Desmond's very patient. Desmond's been on Debbie's been on twice, but I think Desmond's been on 2 or 3 times with Bringing Home Grace, and then he came on his own to talk about investments. So, are you enjoying the market as it is? I mean, people always want to know what's going on. And I want to talk a little bit about the Making Friends for the Win and how you're applying that in your current wonderful career as a realtor.
absolutely, it's so much fun. I really am. I like to make calls. I don't know, people think I'm crazy or weird. Maybe it's the car guy or the carny in me. But I love getting on the phones. My goal every day is 300, and that's what I've been trying to stick to.
300 calls?
300 calls a day, yes.
Okay, so where do you get 300 people to call? Your database or?
Yeah, we use a dialer.
Oh, you
and
use a
then,
dialer. Okay.
Now we've been,
Hi, Marisol. God bless you.
as we've been funding the company, we've been able to get better leads and stuff like that. But most of it was just me going
300
doing it
calls in a
manually.
day. So how do you? So I'm also old school. I'm not a big proponent of the phone right now because I'm in back-to-back meetings all the time.
Sure.
But when I was a salesman and I was trying to build my business or build my database, phone calls were it. And I was on the phone constantly. Ask anybody who knows me pre-Allstate years when I owned the insurance agencies. I used to be on the phone all the time. We didn't have we didn't have the social media to connect to people.
And you probably didn't have a dialer either.
We didn't have a dialer either, so
That was like the car business years
I can
ago.
still talk on the phone if I have to, but 300, Damon says 300's a light day for Dan.
What's up, Damone?
Damone Franklin, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, Martha, she knows me. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. 300, how many do you have to do in an hour to do that? That's a lot of calls. It's 50 an hour
it
times.
depends. Well, it depends on the list. You know, if I'm calling like an eviction list, well, they pick up because they're the landlord and
Right.
they don't have any reason why not to answer the phone. So you talk to more. So that might only be 50. But if I'm calling pre-foreclosure or vacant, tax and that, you might do 120 an hour, 150 because nobody's answering.
How do you have that relationship? Because obviously you're trying. What your goal is to get them to understand that you have their best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
And that you are trustworthy, which is sometimes very difficult to do over the phone.
very
because
hard
people
over the phone.
can't see your facial expressions. They can hear the intonation, but sometimes and your voice, but sometimes that's not so good either. So how do you capture? How do you convert people when you're on the phone with them?
So the hardest part is getting past that initial, like, hi, this is Dan, is this whomever, you know, getting them to stay on the phone with you. I mean, or even like before they curse you out, like they'll like to curse you out and then hang up on you. Like, can't I have an objection to that? Like,
Correct.
Can't I say, why? How do you determine I'm a dick? Okay. I just want to know, right? But
Because you called, Dan.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
why
I
you
called.
are. It's just cause.
But I typically will try and ask if I can get them just to, you know, get past that initial wall that they have up.
Sure.
It depends. Sometimes if they're aggressive, like, why are you calling me? And they're a little rude, I might just hit them right in the face. Like, hey, your house came up on our foreclosure list. That's why I'm calling.
Right.
And then that might get them go, oh, foreclosure. Okay, now we're in a conversation. And then I can kind of backtrack and be like, well, tell me a little bit about
Well,
what's
they've
going on.
also been hit. This is the problem with
Yeah.
calling. They've been hit by a lot of people who don't have any scruples. So the unscrupulous crowd is also hitting them, and they don't know how to differentiate between who they can trust and who they can't trust,
Right.
who has their best interest at heart
Right.
and who's just trying to make a dollar. And then, like we talked about earlier, 6 months from now, they're going to be in the worst position for going with that person.
What I try to do at that point is, let's say a perfect call, I get past the hello, how are you? And we go into it. I ask them, tell me a little bit about what's going on. Tell me a little bit about it. You know, what's happening.
So you're really
And they'll-
engaging them and listening to them.
Yeah, and they'll start to tell me, well, what happened was, you know, my third husband and my sixth kid and my this, that, whatever. And I go, oh man, that's terrible. That happened to me. I know I'm on my fourth wife, which I'm not. I only have one. But
She's very happy about that.
yeah. She wants me to have 3 others. No. And then I kind of
You're
start to build
engaging with them. You're building a
rapport
rapport.
from there. So then I tell them, look, I understand that you might be doing this. Just make sure that whoever you decide to interview to help you, make sure their knowledge is of what you're going through.
Sure.
And make sure their knowledge isn't of just selling a house retail.
Right.
Because there's other options for you. Tell me, do you want to stay in your home? Do you want to find a way out of it? Do you want to do this? And then we start to build rapport there, and then I find out more about them, and then we can get into the appointment and getting out there and then showing them some options.
Well, because you can't fake the caring that you have. I think a lot of people try to put the walls up when they're interviewing people, when they're trying to figure out if the client relationship is going to work. And they put walls up, and they think that's what you're supposed to do because that's more professional. That's why I love the title, Making Friends for the Win, because I think that if you don't develop that rapport and that relationship that's an authentic one, like you really do care about them and they really do want your help, and you have this wonderful symbiotic relationship, then you're missing out. If all you're doing is dialing for dollars and you're just connecting with the person who's the most desperate and then you're not doing anything to help them, that's why we have a bad reputation in town or all over the world, the real estate world.
Yeah, I went from car guy to real estate agent.
Oh, God. Well, I was a life insurance agent, so we're right up there. But I think that's so important. I love the making friends for the win because I think that when you do that, I'm a big believer in it, and obviously it's been successful for you. You have to have that real relationship because people don't want fake anymore. They might like to look at reality TV, but that isn't what their real world is.
And they can hear the smile over the phone.
They can totally hear the smile.
And I just, there's people, when you say that sales is rapport, and then you obviously have, fear of loss, hope for gain, right? Desire for gain, whatever you want to say.
Right.
But I think people take that fear of loss and desire for gain a little bit too overboard.
Correct.
It doesn't mean scare the shit out of them.
Right.
It just means slowly feel their pain and poke a little bit where it hurts, and then rub a little bit where...
Well, because in reality, many of them have never spoken it out loud. They've been dealing with it in private or on their own. And so when you actually have a conversation with them, as painful as it might be, it's actually cathartic. It's good for them. Because now somebody's saying it out loud, and now it's like, okay, now I can talk about it. I can take a deep breath. It might not solve it, but at least it's out there and nobody's hiding it anymore. Yeah. I think a lot of people hide this. They keep it all in. They don't want anybody to know that they're going through any trouble. And trust me, we have all been there, done it.
Absolutely.
All of us still continue to go through things.
I agree. And I believe surround yourself. I mean, I got out of the car, I got into real estate, and I was able to surround myself with people that had my best interests in mind, too. I've got Desmond and Damone. We created the Encore team. And they've been fantastic for me. They've really taken me from, all over the place. I'm ADD like you have no idea.
You've been really focused today, though. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, I've been doing well. And, of course, Debbie, and then the girls at Champion Title and Kendrick Law Firm, Jessica and Sarah have been friendly with me for a long time with Make-A-Wish, Hope for More. And they've really given me a lot of guidance and lessons, and they've really helped me along the way with that part, learning the real estate and making the connections in the real estate world that I need to make. So I've really just had a good circle, and then meeting you.
Oh gosh, God bless you. That's the exception to the rule. You're obviously very Andy a Clymer. You're obviously very philanthropic. You talk about, and that's the other thing. I think when I ask people what charitable organizations they're in and they tell me none, I'm sorry, it's a red flag. I love you all, but wow, if you have zero philanthropic organizations that you're involved with, then you're ticked off a little. I'm not as happy. I'm not in that relationship because I'm like, oh my God, that's so self-centered. I wish more people would, and it doesn't mean that you have to cut checks all the time, but I love to hear people like you talk about the philanthropic part, because service is part of our hearts. We're both have servants' hearts, and so you do this stuff, and it's so rewarding. That's not the reason we do it. We do it because we want to do it.
Yeah, and initially, like with Make-A-Wish, like 6 years ago, initially somebody would just call me up and say, hey, can you help me get some things? Because people in town for the auction. And then once I actually got involved, it's unbelievable. Once you go to the Wishmakers Ball and you sit there and you see the children, you meet the people, and you meet the families, there's just
it's life.
That's when you like take your wallet out and you're like, I don't need this.
Because you realize that you have it really good, and even if you're not in a place to give money, time is so important for so many of these organizations. But yeah, I do question when they're like, I work 40 hours a week, I'm too busy to do anything charitable. Okay, duly noted. All right, so we're going to share all of Dan's contact information, how you can reach out to him, how you can learn more about making friends for the win, how you can talk about investment properties, real estate, anything. Obviously, he's an open book, and you want to reach out to him because he's very authentic, very vulnerable. It was excellent. You were worried about what you'd say, and I just knew that you were going to be perfect, and you were. Any parting words of wisdom for them? Anything you want to share before we head out?
No, I just appreciate you guys listening to me, and once again, I am working on this book. The book release will be June 21st. Once we get copies of it and everything, I'll come back on the TED Show. We'll talk more about it. We'll do the book release at Champion Title and Mills. Love them. They'll help me out. We'll do a party. We'll send out a VIP list. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to be there. 407-414-1137. Dan at EncoreREI.com. Or just message me on Facebook, anywhere. Just bring it. Let's do it. Let's have fun.
And we'll share all of that contact information when we share the video. You've been a joy, man. See, it was
Thanks,
easy.
man. Appreciate you.
It was awesome. Shorts and all.
See you. Yeah.
See you guys. We love
Shorts
you.
at Citrus
We'll be
Club.
with Shorts
I'm
at
the
Citrus.
first.
He's the first. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Love you guys. Thank you so much.